Queensland and the NT, it's interesting because two places that turned its back on Labor, essentially. What does this tell you about Labor's concerns in the upcoming election?
Well, I think the Prime Minister hasn't really been paying attention to what Australians have been screaming about, particularly towards the end of last year, and that is that they are struggling with this cost of living crisis. And so what you're hearing from the Labor Party is a lot of platitudes. They understand your pain, Australians, but they're actually not making the tough decisions that economists and the Reserve Bank have been seeking them to do when it comes to budget spending. And so unless they start getting their spending under control and making those tough decisions, the Reserve Bank will be left with no other course of action than to keep interest rates higher for longer than they should be, and that's hurting everyday Australians as we speak, Holly. In terms of Queensland, we know the Prime Minister is hopeful, but Queenslanders have turned against the Labor Party in quite large numbers at the last state election, as has the Northern Territory at their recent election of the CLP in quite a landslide. And I think towards the end of the week he heads over to Western Australia. It'll be interesting to see if Australians, as I said in my opening remarks, take kindly to the Prime Minister flying around the country with bucket loads of their hard-earned tax dollars out the door, as they're struggling to pay their post-Christmas credit card bill.
Just on one of the announcements, the Bruce Highway, this is obviously definitely needed. It's a very dangerous piece of road. We know that. Will the coalition match the upgrade if elected?
Well, we have a really strong record of investing in the Bruce Highway. When we were in government, we had $10 billion of forward works on the highway. It's useful to remind viewers that since coming to power, the Albanese government over its last three budgets have actually cut and delayed projects right along the Bruce, whilst we know that 45% of it only has a 2-star safety rating. So for the last 3 years, they've been busy cutting and delaying projects essential to get the Bruce upgraded. And then, Monday they decide to put $77.2 billion on the table. So the coalition will always back budgeted money into upgrades for the Bruce Highway, because we want people to be safe and we want those critical freight routes as efficient as possible.
Okay, also today I want to get your thoughts on this. Let's talk about the high-speed train line from Sydney to Newcastle. The cost of building it is estimated at up to $32 billion. What do you make of the modelling?
Well, I'd like to see it, Holly. I mean, the fact is that this is the Prime Minister's signature infrastructure promise. They've spent $500 million on opening an office, drilling a couple of holes, and spending $79 million on a business case. It's been sitting on Minister King's desk for over a month now, and it's time she released it so that the public can actually have a look at this grand plan. Because without that level of detail, it has all the hallmarks of the Victorian Labor government's suburban rail loop, a massive project where they're refusing to release the details and so that people can actually scrutinise it. We spent $500 million and not a track's been laid, not a sleeper's been laid, and we really need to see the business case, Holly. It needs to be made public because people are going to be making a decision on this project when they head to the ballot box this year.